Yes, sir. We're back again with another episode of From Downtown. Today is Monday, July 8th, 2024, and we are approximately 7 days away, a full week away from having NCAA Football 25 finally back in our hands since the last, 10 years, decade. So, talking about college football, let's go ahead and just hop into our college football outlook. We have the Sun Belt starting for today. Last week we did the Big 12. I wanted to do the Sun Belt as well, but I realized we only have like 9 to 10 conferences to even talk about when it comes to football. So we're going to just break it up and do 2 this week, 2 next week, and then we're going to end July off with the rest of the conferences. Honestly, the Sun Belt was very competitive last year with James Madison crossing over. I think it was their second year or their first year in here. So they came out and went 11-1, but we'll talk about them later. So we're going in alphabetical order here, and this, of course, this episode is sponsored by Smacking Sunflower Seeds that you can see on my computer right there. Coming at you with flavors like backyard barbecue, dill pickle, garlic parmesan, which is my favorite, of course, cheddar jalapeno, cinnamon churro, cracked pepper, OG. It's a bunch of flavors that was in the sampler box that I received. And if you want to go ahead and support our podcast or support me in general, you go over to our link and buy yourself some sunflower seeds. Smacking Sunflower Seeds, like I said, have some of the best flavors of seeds that I've ever seen, at least exotic flavors. So hopping straight into it, alphabetical order, no necessarily, up and down for the conference. So let's look at it here. App State, probably the most winningest team in college football, the most winningest team in the Sun Belt, other than like Arkansas State. But this is one of the most consistent teams. I feel like they have an offense that could compete with anybody in the country at any given time. I feel like the reason for them having a great season last year, they went 9-3, of course, was that they had a great O-line. They were able to rely on that O-line to create holes for their running back that is transferred now to Missouri. So it lets you know, like, they have legit athletes there that should be or could be playing for a Power 4 school. So it's going to be on Joey Aguilar, their quarterback, trying to keep it together, and Kanye Roberts as well. So I feel like they're going to have to be very effective on offense when it comes to being explosive, because this is an explosive offense. So they just have to find a way to be consistent with those explosive plays. Defensively, this team was great at getting turnovers last year. I feel like they were very inconsistent when it comes to just being a defense that can stop an offense. I feel like if they weren't getting a takeaway, like, it was hard for them to get off the field. So defense relies, like I said, on the secondary. You have to be great. You have to be able to take the ball away. But I feel like they went in the portal and got guys like Miles Farmer, the safety from Syracuse, and Ethan Johnson as well. So there was a lot of guys there that I feel like App State, reloaded their defense, or kind of made their defense a little better for themselves. You get a good tackler like Caden Sullivan and the linebacker. So even though you're young in that group, I still feel like it's a good group of kids on that defensive side that App State can win 10 games again this year. Only tough games I see is going to Clemson, going to East Carolina, and definitely playing James Madison at home, which is a tough game. But everything else to them is a weak or swing game. So I feel like they could definitely go 9-3 or 10-2 again. 9-3 again or 10-2 this year. So yeah, next up is Arkansas State, the best up and coming team, I feel like, in the Sun Belt right now. James Madison already there, so I'm not going to say they're an up and coming team. So I just feel like Arkansas State has been there as well too, but they just went downhill. From like 2010 to 2020, they had won 5 fucking Sun Belt championships. So they definitely run the Sun Belt. I think they did that over a span of, like I said, they got a decade. So over a decade, you win 5 conference titles. You go and you beat, I think it's like you beat a lot of good teams in bowl games, so, or at least play them close in bowl games. I just think Arkansas State has the explosiveness of a offense that could really come out and show you something. Like, they put up 77 points last year against Texas State, so I mean that's crazy. That's just crazy. 77 points. So offense is led by the best college quarterback he was named this at the fucking Peyton Manning Passing Academy, not any other uh, college football outlet. But at the Manning Academy, Jalen Raynor was named the best college quarterback. So I guess if his O-line does everything they could to, just hold up in front of him, he should have a big year. I mean, if you're getting called the best college quarterback out there, when I know that they're getting guys or some of the best guys in the, not necessarily the state, but the nation to come out there and play. Yeah, I think that was a good start for their year. Defensively, they struggled last year a lot. Couldn't defend the pass, couldn't defend the run. They need a lot more from the secondary. I feel like they didn't have a lot. Oh yeah, so if you weren't good up front, it's hard for the secondary to even be good. So they went out and grabbed Georgia Tech's edge rusher Noah Collins, and I think he should make an immediate impact on that defense. And then they went and got a defensive back, Charles Wilkes. So we'll see what the defense can hold up or what they can do against other offenses this year. But like I said, Arkansas State is definitely a good team. Strong games that they play. They play Iowa State and Michigan back-to-back this year, which is crazy work for them. And then they go to Southern Miss, which I feel like is a tough game. So I feel like this is another team that can have a 10-win, a double-digit win season, with Lowly being like the lowest part of that season, probably being like 8-4. They finished 6-6 last year, so I definitely don't see that again happening this year. So you can just keep it pushing. Next up is Coastal Carolina, the streaking Chanticleers. I think at this point they had like a 5 to 6 game winning streak to start the season, and then went on to like have a regular season. They went 7-5 last year. Their offense was terrible at converting in the red zone. 26 out of the 54 times they converted in the red zone. That's damn near fuck. That's a little bit over half. I mean, I think I would rather a 60%, 70% chance in that, like with people doing that. But they're led by Kansas transfer Ethan Vasco. He had a good end to the season last year for him. So even with competition coming in from Michigan State with Noah Kim transferring over, I think that he still should be the starter. Vasco, that is. So they have a good rushing attack, so I feel like everything there could probably just stay the same. O-line needs to get better, but that's for a lot of schools. So defensively, Coastal will have to replace their top 3 tacklers. Damn, safety Juan Powell is returning, one of their most productive guys in the secondary. They gave up 400 yards a game. They were like a bend but don't break type of defense. So they gave up 400 yards a game, but they only gave up 23 points per game. So it was like they let you get down the field whenever you wanted to, but they just didn't let you score. They led the conference in interceptions last year, which is crazy. I like that stat. And Matthew McDoom led the conference in pass breakup. So only strong games I really see coming out of their schedule next year is going to Jacksonville State, playing Virginia at home, and playing James Madison away. Coastal could definitely be a 9-win team. I don't think they're on that double-digit win team list yet for me, especially with knowing like that the other pieces of the Sun Belt are going to be way better as well. And as we talk about the other pieces of the Sun Belt, let's go ahead and hop straight into it. Georgia Southern last year went 6-6. Georgia Southern made strides. Their offense at Georgia Southern is fucking crazy. They just throw the ball. It's like air raid times 2. The thing about Georgia Southern is like looking at their schedule. I think from last year they won 5 games in a row. I would like to. No. They started off winning 6 games, and then fucked around, and on the back end of the season they lost like 5 games in a row. So I feel like they ended up being 6-6, and it was like. It was just because they were so up and down. They were so inconsistent. They led the FBS with 31 turnovers. I don't think that should happen again, even with that offense. Like I said, this is a super air raid offense. They're going to throw the hell out the ball. They're going to throw it in the stands. They're going to throw it to their players. They're going to throw it to your players. They're going to throw the fuck out the ball. Clay Helton is going to have to find a way to make his QB kind of take control of the ball or take care of the ball more. So they can, have a better season in that. But, of course, I think Georgia Southern is one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. That offense is prime for them to go out there and put up points on people. So they went out and got a 4-star tight end from Auburn, Tyler Fromm. I wonder if that's Jake Fromm's brother or some shit. Then they went out and got LV Bunkley Shelton to help whoever that is and going to be in that QB room. So you kind of give them a threat on the outside of receiver, and then you get a tight end, a big tight end from a Power 4 SEC school like that. I feel like he should come in and make an immediate impact. Defensively, they were very impressive last year. They relied on freshmen mostly. I feel like a lot of those kids didn't have any playing time on any defense coming into last year, so I feel like a lot of them had chances to be great. Marquez Watson Tart, he had like over 100 tackles each year he's been there. So I think if he does things to like solidify the middle or that linebacker core, whatever that is, I feel like people that came in from Kennesaw State, like Chance Gamble, they should have a good year. So only big games I see or strong games I see out of their schedule is going to be Boise State at home, going to Ole Miss, going to Coastal Carolina, and playing App State at home. Winning 2 out of those 4 games would definitely have them in a better spot than they were last year. I think they're definitely an 8-win team. It's going to take a lot from the defense for them to be 9 or 10, but 8 wins, I feel like that's definitely doable for them next year. 8-4, go win a bowl game. The offense is definitely primed to do that. So next up is another 6-6 Georgia team, Georgia State. Georgia State lost 4 out of the 5 years they have been. Oh no, the last 4 out of the 5 years have been winning seasons for the Panthers. Georgia State last year, 6-6 is almost close to being a winning season anyway. It's 500. Fuck. Last year was tough on them because I feel like the state. I don't know. I just think that Georgia as a whole wasn't on their P's and Q's last year. I don't know what the fuck went wrong. Who dropped some music out there in ATL, but I don't know. Whatever happened, it didn't sustain them for this year. I feel like I said, they went 6-6 last year, and then they lose some of their best receivers. They lose their best receiver to Auburn, their best running back to Missouri, their best O lineman to Virginia Tech, their top corner to Boston College, their most consistent player at quarterback has graduated. Georgia State is on a complete rebuild right now, on a complete tear it down and start over from square one, offensively that is. So they lose all of their top offensive players, and they're going to have to rebuild around 6'3" Kadarius Thomas and Talik Williams. I feel like they should definitely have a chance at being great next year, but we don't know who's throwing the ball. So Akron transfer and 50th senior Zach Gibbert Jr. is coming down to Atlanta to be, I guess, somewhat of a threat for that offense, but it's going to take a lot for this Georgia State team to be as good as they were last year, and they were 6-6. So I don't really have hope for them being over a 5-win team this year. But defensively, they got worse. I feel like as the year progressed last year, but I think over the spring, of course, and in the summer, I feel like they went in the transfer portal and got guys that they feel like could help immediately. They went out and got Georgia Tech's Kenyatta Watson. They keep Jeremiah Johnson at safety. That's a kid that I feel like he can do it all on their defense. He plays like safety. They have him at being a hybrid, like he's a safety linebacker. He can come down in the box, make plays, be in the back and make plays as well. So the pass rush, I feel like, has to be more effective. Leading tackler Justin Abram and edge rusher Kevin Sweat, they all had transferred. So left. So they have a few transfers coming for the D line, so that the depth should be better, even though last year was terrible as well. So it's just, I feel like, again, this schedule isn't built for them to be good as well. They go to Georgia Tech, they play Vandy, they go to App State, they go to James Madison, they go to Coastal, they go to UConn. This is I just feel like it's not built for them to be great this year. Mediocre to subpar at best. But yeah. Next up is the James Madison. What they are, the Golden Dukes or some shit. The goddamn Bulldogs. No, I'm playing. The new Cinderella team of college football that is. After a one-loss season last year, JMU is looking to continue their dominance over the Sun Belt. Their Sun Belt opponent. So they ended up losing to App State last year, which probably kept them out of their conference championship if they were allowed to be in it. I don't think they cared anyway with their head coach leaving the roster as like soon as they do some dumb shit like that. So I feel like them coming back next year is going to be more so about what coach or what continuity would you have with the roster and the team. So Dylan Morris is back down there. He's a Washington guy. He was the backup for Michael Penix last year, the last couple of years to be honest. So I feel like he should be a great help for the squad. Running back, they got George Pettaway, transfer from North Carolina. They had him last year getting close. No, I think North Carolina's running back. I forgot where he went, but I don't. Yeah. No, he wasn't there. Ayo Adeyeye is a 1,000-yard rusher at North Texas a couple years ago, so he understands how to go ahead and be a focal point of the offense as well. So I feel like you have two guys that can come in the running back group that can really take pressure off your quarterback and off a lot of things in your offense. Like shit, just give them the ball. So defensively, they were amazing. I think that's what made them stand out. D'Angelo Pines, short corner. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10", who knows how to play the game like Tyron. To be honest, I feel no, I'm not giving him Tyron Matthew like type abilities, but I mean like he's just small and he knows how to make plays in the secondary. So, as a freshman last year, he did some great things. And him being across from who they have on the other side, Chauncey Logan, he's a junior, so he's had experience playing that position. So I feel like the secondary should be great. It should be good enough to be exactly what it was last year, if not better. But what they did lock up the middle was they got people like Dobbs at linebacker, Jacob Thomas at safety. I mean, getting to the quarterback is going to be their biggest thing anyway. So I feel like the only game that they have that is going to be strong or going to give them trouble is going to North Carolina. Every other game on this fucking schedule looks like it's going to be a walk in the park, not a walk in the park for James Madison. Even with a new coach, roster turnaround, I just feel like James Madison is doing everything and putting their money where their mouth is for their athletic program to build a powerhouse in football. And I feel like the Sun Belt is not going to be their last stop when it comes to finding the right conference for them. Next up is the 6-6 UL Raging Cajuns. We get down to Louisiana. Offensively, UL got much better last year than the 22 season. The ground game was better. They have young guys there that actually have a chance at running that ball at a good, I don't want to say good pace. I think the running back by committee shit is working for them out there. So guys like Elijah Davis, shout out to Gip, Draylon Washington. I mean, a lot of those guys are homegrown Louisiana talent anyway. Elijah went to Riverside. So, yeah, I feel like Cam Fields could take this spot as the best passer on the roster, the quarterback that is. But I just have to see what it look like coming together, because UL lost one of their best quarterbacks. He went to, I want to say it was ULM, but it's like, you lose your best quarterback because he wants more playing time and he goes to a worse team. So as long as the running game is still what it was, I feel like they still win 6 games next year. Because defensively they weren't great. They just had a terrible. I feel like they had a terrible run when it came to games that were closer than probably 6 or 7. They lose their leading tackler, Kendrick Gant. He's going to Houston. So it's going to be. I think they're going to rely mostly on their secondary. Their pass rush wasn't there anyway. Like I said, Kendrick Gant is going to Houston, which was probably their best linebacker or the best linebacker they've ever seen. So they return a lot of their D-line, which is a good thing. So we probably can see more production out of that line, because like continuity on the line is something that they pride themselves on. So people like Tyrone Lewis, guys up front like Cam Whitfield, LSU transfer Fitzgerald West. I feel like it should help them out. So especially if the secondary is better. Strong games that UL plays this year are Tulane at home. They have to go to Wake Forest, and of course they have to go to Coastal Carolina. Those are the only 3 games I see that are tough, somewhat strong. Comparing them to the other schools, I think this could definitely be an 8-win team, 7-win team. 6-6 was definitely the middle of the pack, and I think that if they find a quarterback that can at least give them some type of threat, just be a threat at throwing the ball, just be somewhat accurate, this team can win 8 games. Yeah. Next up is the next Louisiana school. You already know who that is. The ass, ULM Warhawks. The laughing stock of the Sun Belt, probably the laughing stock of college football in general. They went 2-10 last year, 0-8 in conference. Very terrible. Looking to turn that shit around from last year. I feel like you can't be worse. They went got a new coach, Brian Vincent, who was at the interim job at UAB before Trent Dilfer took over. So yeah, then he went to New Mexico last year with Diego Pavia and all of them guys, and made that offense look somewhat good. So ULM has had 3 big seasons, 3 winning seasons in their tenure as an FBS school. So over 37 years, they only had 3 winning seasons. And the last one was in like 2012. So this isn't a rebuild, I would like to say. I feel like Coach Brian Vincent is going to have a tough time rebuilding this team. This is like, I feel like this is like a rebuild where you like create a new team from scratch and put them in NCAA. Like, I made a 1-star JUCO school and we put them in NCAA and now we're going to rebuild them. That's how I feel about ULM. So like, realistically, there might be a quarterback battle going in with like General Booty, the Oklahoma transfer, and the UL transfer, Hunter Herring. But I don't even think it matters because they are completely starting over at wide receiver. Like, none of those guys on that roster right now received the catch last year, and I don't mean just at ULM. I mean in fucking general. Like, none of those guys caught a ball. If the offense was as last year, the defense was. I mean, it's going to be terrible. So they had a few guys on that defensive side that I feel like bolstered that D line. The linebackers are very young. The secondary is young. So going to the JUCO areas there, look like they got a couple guys in the secondary from JUCO. Carlin Vigors. It's the only guy that I circled. I mean, I think that's because I feel like everybody else was just a damn near walk on anywhere else. So strong weak swing games. I think every game that they play this year will be a strong game. Only 2 weak games I see, and it's only going to be one, is Jackson State. Jackson State is probably the only weak team that they will play, and I could definitely see them losing that game as well. So next up is the Old Dominion Monarchs. Old Dominion, if you follow me or know me, you would know I had a fucking, I don't know if I had a problem, but I just had a problem betting on Old Dominion Zach Kuntz. Like, it was a tight end. I think he's in the league now. I think he's playing for the Jets. It's like, I really thought that nigga was the best tight end in college football. Like, no lie. He was just an all-around great blocker, great catcher. Other than Brock Bowers, I was like, yeah, he could definitely be the best tight end in football. But that's the only reason I was locked in. I think 6-6. I don't really know what that team looked like. Last year I didn't really watch much. Like I said, I was only looking for one person. Statistically, it looked like the defense was the problem. And then, I mean, they gave up tackles for losses way more than any other team in the Sun Belt, including the fucking ULM. They lose their best rushing attack to Cal. Their running back is going to Cal. You kind of have a slow run game with no O-line. So, like, Grant Wilson is their quarterback. He's going to have to be back again and throw for more than 2,000 yards and 17 TDs. I think that it has to be 3K and at least 25-plus TDs this year. I mean, the top receiving threats are gone. Zach Kuntz, Raymelo Murphy. Yeah, so I just feel like he has to find a way to be more respectable on offense. And Grant just have to fucking find a way to throw that damn ball. Defensively, they kept their team kind of in the same way, I guess. They led by tackling machine Jason Henderson at linebacker. So I think that constant presence there should be enough for that defense to compete in the Sun Belt, of course. But a lot of the things I see other than that is just that they don't have Old Dominion looks like they don't have a secondary that is worth it, or that's gonna put people in the right position. Like I don't think that the defensive coach is really. I don't know. I don't think that's. I don't. Shit. I don't know what to say. I think that Old Dominion wins 6 games again, but to say anything more, I might be being a little bit too biased. Like I think that Old Dominion is not the bottom of the Sun Belt, but they're definitely in the middle. I think teams like Georgia Southern can be better than Old Dominion, just if they put shit together the right way. But tough games, I don't really see any tough ones other than, of course, the big games. But it's like everybody else should be beatable or a swing game for Old Dominion. Yeah, I just feel like that's crazy. So yeah, Old Dominion is cool. Next up, we have Marshall. HRJKLMNO. Why the fuck did I do Marshall first? Yeah, well, like, nigga, I don't know how to spell. But yeah, we have Marshall. Last year, like I said, Marshall is crazy. Marshall went, I think they won 4 games last year, something like that. But whenever that offense is going, that bitch is fun to watch. Marshall looks like one of the best teams whenever that offense is scoring. They're crazy. So Marshall averaged over 390 yards per game. Damn near 400 you can put. The pass protection has to be way stronger, of course. I can tell from the sacks that they're giving up. But they did find depth in the portal with them being able to, keep things, I guess, close with teams like James Madison. Like I said, the Sun Belt is the Sun Belt. The Sun Belt isn't necessarily the toughest conference ever. So you have a chance to win that motherfucker every year. I don't give a fuck if you were the 2-10 ULM Warhawks or you weren't, or you were the 11-1 James Madison Golden Dukes. I mean, whatever happens in the Sun Belt. Like, it's not going to be the same next year, except for probably the only team I can think of is James Madison keeping it. And they're not going to have the same year they had last year. They lost their coach, so of course. I think that Marshall last year just shot themselves in the foot a lot. Like I said, Marshall's offense is amazing. And then they go out in the transfer portal and get guys like Braylon Brown from Ole Miss, Chapman from North Carolina, Elijah Metcalf from Middle Tennessee. I'm like, dog, they went and got weapons for that offense. So you just need the quarterback to do better than what the fuck it did last year. Last year, it was Cam. Cam was the quarterback. He's at FAU right now. So I think he threw for like 10 interceptions, 11 interceptions, and then the guy that they pulled in, Braden Pennington, I think he threw like 8, and they like combined for like damn near 19, 20 interceptions last year. So I don't think they know for a fact who their starting quarterback is going to be. I haven't seen anybody say that just yet, but I do know that they have the weapons for whoever that quarterback is, like, to go out there and have a great year. Defensively, they were good. They weren't as good as like James Madison, but they were top tier. They lost to James Madison 20-6. I think that was the closest game James Madison had in the Sun Belt. Winning the game by 14. But I don't know. They had a good pass rush last year. It got some sacks. The portal kind of took more from their defense than it did with adding to their offense. They lost Clayton. He went to Mississippi State. I think they were their best edge rusher. And then Ashton Heflin. He went to Georgia Tech. I mean, I don't know. I feel like those guys coming in, I said they were leaving, I'm tripping. But those guys coming in, Clayton from Mississippi State and Ashton Heflin from Georgia Tech, is going to make that defense just a little bit more stout. Big guys that have played in power conferences before. So, like I said, they just have to get to the quarterback more. The secondary was top tier. They lost their best cornerback in Micah Abram, but everybody else is probably staying and they're playmakers. They got a transfer from Arizona State named Isaiah Johnson. So there's a lot of guys, like, I guess, out there for them to figure out who they want to be in that secondary. So you can have picks and chooses at Marshall. I just feel like they have to figure out what their quarterback is going to be or look like for the future of their next 2 to 3 years. Only tough game I really see on Marshall's schedule. I don't know. Marshall shouldn't have been what they were last year, but like I said, the only tough games I see on that shit is Ohio State, James Madison, Coastal Carolina, and Virginia Tech. So those are 4 games I think that they can find a way to win. 7 to 8 games, and that's going to be what they need. Next up, we're going to do the Texas schools. Texas State last year had probably their best year as a all-around football program in their fucking history. I think that they won their first bowl game or something, some shit like along the lines of that. Like, they won their first bowl game in history, got their first bowl berth in history. Texas State definitely shocked. Carter, come back over here. Texas State definitely shocked me last year, going 8-5. Not 8-5, going 8-4. So, oh no, they went 7-5 last year and won the bowl game. That's why I'm 8-5. I was like, what, 8-5? That's 13 games. But yeah, they won their bowl game. I'm not even paying attention and thinking about it. Texas State with their new coach, new swag, DJ Kenny. It looked like those kids was out there motherfucker having fun. That little nigga, like, their new coach only like 35 years old, 34 years old. So it's like him coming in, he got the attention of the kids. He got them to play together from the fucking moment he stepped foot on that campus. That offense was great. There was way more production than what I expected from any team in the Sun Belt. I just feel like the only other thing that was standing in their way was teams like South Alabama, and Troy. Oh my goodness, we just skipped USA. I gotta go back even when we're done with this, but I wanted to get to Texas State anyway. Texas State is definitely playing like one of the best teams right now in the Sun Belt. 8-75 last year, winning your bowl game. I think that this year they definitely win 8 games. Nothing really has changed there. Offensively, they found a way to get TJ Finley to throw for 3,500 yards and 25 touchdowns. But he's not there anymore anyway. So I think that Jordan McLeod from James Madison should be able to do everything that, TJ Finley did, the old LSU quarterback. Their running back is Mali Madi, 5'9", 180. Devin Williams ran for 1,500 yards with 10 scores last year. It's looking like one of those guys that we're going to have to watch out for being SEC, best running back of the year or whatever that shit is called. But defensively, they had their moments, and then they kind of backed off. I think they gave up 30 points a game, 32.8 points a game last year. So they hit the portal hard. They went got 2 defensive ends, one from Texas A&M, one from Michigan State. Also got Stephen Parker, who was a fucking great pass rusher for Incarnate Word. So transfer portal is bringing in depth on defense. So I think that if they can just fucking chill on giving the ball away, even though TJ Finley was probably their best option at quarterback last year. I mean, he still gave up a lot of turnovers. So I feel like if you can find a way to just keep those turnovers down and let guys on the defensive side like Chris Mills and fucking Joshua Eden, like, just to have a fucking field day at secondary, like, I think that's going to be crazy. So yeah, I think Jordan McLeod should be a good quarterback for him. Only toughest games that I see on their schedule, like I said, is South Alabama and Troy. But other than that, that's everything. That's everything that I've been thinking of, for Texas State. Next up, because we skipped them, is South Alabama. So South Alabama is looking like South Alabama. I don't even know why I'm talking about South Alabama. South Alabama went 6-6 last year. Very middle of the pack. I don't know what made them any different than anybody else last year. I'm trying to find a stat that I could just pull off and just be like, yeah, South Alabama did this last year. But I just don't know. Like, everybody else in the Sun Belt had like some type of legit thing to help them move forward. I don't remember what that was for South Alabama. They got a new coaching staff, of course. Uh, they were number one at one point in passing efficiency with Carter Bradley at quarterback. They got a great offensive line, but the passing game might not be the same with a new quarterback. They went and got a guy from Eastern Michigan named Gio Lopez, and also they pulled in a wide receiver named Colin Lacey from Louisville. But I don't see them being a passing type of team. Their running backs were close to 1,000 yards. One of them already have 1,000 yards. But he's gone. LaDamian Webb is out of there. So that shit look like they starting over as well. If I got like, honestly, I don't really know what South Alabama did good last year. I don't even remember them fucking playing anybody remotely close. I don't even know how they went 6-6. There wasn't a huge pass rush for them last season. I said that for like fucking every team in the Sun Belt. But they do have a lot of good tacklers. Wycavius Thomas, one of the best defensive players in the Sun Belt. They got some guys from JUCOs, Jalen Durgan. They got a guy from Liberty and Akil Washington. Kansas State transfer Gavin Forshers. I feel like there's a lot of guys there that they just have to, I guess, figure out how they're going to produce here now. So, yeah, like I said, South Alabama is just going to have to show us this year. I'm definitely going to say 6 games is their max. And then everything else from down could definitely happen. 5-7, 4-8, 3-9, 2-10. But yeah, I think that they hit the portal a little bit better than a lot of other Sun Belt schools, so that definitely should be middle of the pack if anything again. So 6 wins is looking like fun. Yeah. So back to the T's. Oh no. Southern Miss. Cause I skipped the whole S's. Southern Miss was just terrible last year. I think that was a fluke year for Southern Miss. I know Frank Gore's son wasn't that goddamn good to make Southern Miss offense look that, like, for him to leave and make Southern Miss offense look that ass last year. But yeah, I guess they're gonna have to find a way. So all the good moments that we remember from the 2 years ago, they probably should be back. The offensive line struggled last year. I think that they hit the transfer portal hard and did some things to fill in the gaps on the offensive line. So they should be better there. They lost Frank Gore Jr., of course, but they went and got a quarterback at Florida State. So from Florida State. So I mean, like, Tequila Mims is the main veteran receiver returning, look like. So he led the team last year with 40 catches. But they went out also and got an Ole Miss transfer named Larry Simmons. So I feel like they're doing things offensively to take a step forward. Yeah, of course, losing Frank Gore Jr. is fucking terrible. You don't want to fuck around and mess that up. But other than that, it's like, damn, what else did they lose, or what did they have anyway to just keep people close, or like what keep the offense booming last year other than Gore? So we're gonna have to see more from the transfers, more from everybody. So the defense wasn't that great last year, but I mean, I think it was enough to kind of keep games close. Their offense just couldn't get them over the hump. They need to be better up front. God damn it, I can say that about every Sun Belt team. Jaleel Clemens, probably their best edge rusher, best outside linebacker, edge rusher type nigga, Von Miller type shit. But it's like, yeah, if Jaleel Clemens don't have a great year coming off the edge, getting you like 8 to 9 to 10 sacks, then it's gonna be hard for that defense, because that secondary, it looks very, very, very bad. Yep. Key players that Southern Miss has is Tate coming in from Florida State, and hopefully he can just lead that offense to being better than mediocre. And then on the defensive side, I feel like the Braxton Myers kid from Purdue should be probably their best player, their best secondary player in general. So, yeah. Next up, we have. Damn, we should be on our last team. Am I tripping? We did Texas State. We did ULM. We did Southern Miss. We did South Alabama. Fucking Troy. How could I forget about Troy? Being a fucking LSU alum, I fucking hate Troy. Troy has ruined some years for me. Well, no, not some years. They ruined one good year for me, and LSU lost that goddamn game. I feel like it was our homecoming or some shit. We went and got drunk anyway. No, I'm playing. But last year, Troy, like I said, did Troy win that motherfucker last year? Am I tripping? I think Troy won the division last year. Troy and App State won it, but I know they were in the championship together. But Gerard Parker, I feel like I don't know. This year, the offense last year was great. They lost. Oh no, they keep OC Sean Reagan. The passing game was great. 415 points last year, the most scored by a Troy team since 2016. But I feel like they're on a loss right now because they don't know who they want to have at QB. Last year they had a guy throw for like 3,000 yards, 3,500 yards with 27 touchdowns and 6 picks. But I think right now the receiving core is so fucking gone that it's like the quarterback position might not be won by the person who throws the ball the best. And that's fucked up to say, but that's just exactly what it is. So, offensive line at Troy was good enough. Kimani Vidal is back. Oh, no, Kimani Vidal is gone after running for damn near 1,500 yards last year. But Damian Taylor, who was behind him, should be a good number 2 option. And they got an East Carolina transfer named Gerald Green. No, not the dunker. But, yeah, I think that the running game, if the running game is a little better, I think that it should make up for them not having receivers or threats on that outside for the passing game. So I think that, they should be able to take a step forward as well. Not necessarily winning 8 to 9 games again, but I think that they do compete. They compete heavily. 7 wins, 8 wins. I don't know. I think 7 is where I'm leaning towards, but it could be an 8, 9, 10 season for them as well, especially if they catch some good wins early. Defensively, it's going to take a lot for their production to keep going because I think they lose a lot of pass rushing. They had 16. Javon Solomon had 16 sacks. So you're kind of giving up between those two guys, Javon and Richard Gibanar. Damn near 26 sacks, damn near 30 sacks. So people like Cincinnati transfer Jamal Williams to rise up should be like the biggest thing for their defense to see if it makes any impacts or makes any improvements from last year. But yeah, I think that they're gonna need to have more up front because most of their linebackers are definitely from Bama, so they're gonna be some great fucking linebackers. But I think their secondary is gonna be all new here, so I think that's where it's gonna go wrong. I think if you don't have continuity on that back end or on that front end, your defense is gonna be very, very bad. Yeah, that's all we have today for From Downtown, especially with this Sunbelt Conference outlook. Troy. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of Troy. The fall of Troy. But yeah, like I said, we'll do another conference outlook probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, somewhere at the end of this week. Yeah. We'll see you guys then.